So the deadline set by the Ukrainian government for pro-Russian rebels to put down their guns and leave the buildings they've been occupying came and went. Instead, a new city in eastern Ukraine became a flashpoint for separatist protests. Our international editor, Lindsay Hilsum, has travelled to Horlivka, where pro-Russian gunmen took over a police station, and also to the city of Sloviansk, where rebels already occupying municipal buildings have publicly called on President Putin to support them. She's now in the regional capital, Donetsk, from where she joins us live. Lindsay.
Matt, the building behind me, the municipal building in Donetsk, has been occupied by pro-Russian protesters for more than a week now. You might have thought that today they'd all be on edge because the Ukrainian president said this anti-terror operation, as he put it, was going to start. If they didn't get out, the Ukrainian troops would be here. Well, we haven't seen much sign of them. There were a few pictures of them in the south, but other than that, it's been a day when the pro-Russians, or maybe the Russians, have taken control of more buildings, and they now are occupying buildings in 10 towns across eastern Ukraine. They may look like a disorganized mob, but the authorities in Kiev assure that the men who attacked the police building in Horlivka today were acting on orders from Moscow. The crowd that gathered was enthusiastic, but Western journalists were not welcome. The police inside didn't get much choice. If they remained loyal to Kiev, they'd be beaten up. The crowd chanted, "Bring the real government."
We demand the people's head of internal affairs in the region. This is our only demand, for that person to support the people. All the heads of regional administrations have switched to the side of the people and refused to recognise the government in Kiev.
One of the intruders raised the Russian flag and got rid of the Ukrainian colours. A few streets away, we saw a group of young men marching around town carrying the Russian flag. People seemed unsettled by the turn of events, but had no faith in the authorities in Kiev.
For sure, they must consider the opinion of the people in the southeast, in Donbass. They put us down. We want them to hear our opinion. We want a referendum and Russian to be an official language.
In the regional capital, a group calling itself the People's Republic of Donetsk has controlled the municipal building for more than a week now. The pro-Russian groups occupying government buildings like this across the Donetsk region took absolutely no notice of the Ukrainian president's deadline this morning. That makes the authorities in Kiev look weak. And if President Putin's aim is to destabilize eastern Ukraine, he's succeeding. They're calling for a referendum on Donetsk becoming independent. Sort of.
I don't want to listen Kiev. I don't want to listen Europe or United States. That's why.
What about Moscow?
Moscow, they are our brothers.
At the entrance to the town of Sloviansk, seized by pro-Russian forces yesterday, they believe they have God on their side.
Alleluia.
But if prayer is not enough, behind the barricades of tyres, they had Molotov cocktails at the ready. No need. There was no sign of the anti-terror operation to dislodge them promised by the Ukrainian government. The man in charge insisted that a local camera crew film us. It would be evidence, he said, if he took us to court for failing to tell the truth as he saw it.
I speak Russian. I live in Russia. No, I mean in Ukraine. Look, the situation is as follows. There are too many provocateurs, and that's why we duplicate the video of all the reporters who come here to film. So we can see if you change the information, and we will tell the whole world that yours is the worst channel.
Inside Sloviansk, crowds gathered, and the men in charge felt secure enough to hold a press conference.
Dear President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, we ask you to look personally into the current situation and help us to the extent possible. In a sign of unity of the two brotherly nations, we will raise the flag of Donetsk Republic next to the flag of the Russian Federation.
Nothing disorganized about those in control here. They were professional soldiers with all the kit. And they looked uncannily like the men who seized government facilities in Crimea in February, just before a hastily organised referendum and annexation by Russia.